Well, this seems like a good time to start. Welcome to the 2015 State of the City Address. Wonderful to have you all here tonight. My name is Emily Larson. I am the Duluth City Council President, and I'm really honored to be with you here tonight and to share with you a few words from the council perspective and introduce Mayor Ness as he gives his final State of the City Address. Before I do, however, I'd ask that you rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So a very warm welcome to all of you here tonight. We do have a few people I would been asked to mention that we do have representatives here from Congressman Nolan and Senator Franken's office. And if you are still here, if you could stand, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And of course, many, many other distinguished guests in the audience that are too many to name tonight. And we know that you are here and very, very grateful for that. And I'm sure Mayor Ness will have comments about those of you who are here as well. Yeah? Just add it in. I'm sure you need some filler. It'll be good. I also want to extend gratitude and introduce my council colleagues. There are many of us here tonight. Not all of us could be here, of course, because schedules do change. But if you could hold your applause till the end. 4th District Councilor Howie Hansen, 2nd District Councilor Joel Cypress, 1st District Councilor Jennifer Jilsrud and Vice President of the Duluth City Council, 3rd District Councilor Charlotte Gardner, At-Large Councilor Barb Russ, and At-Large Councilor Zach Filipovich. Please join me in thanking them for their service. We have 2 councilors who are unable to be here at this time, Councilor Linda Krug and Councilor Jay Fosley. But I do want to say, I know how hard this work is as a city councilor. I know the time it takes away from our families. It's a lot of time in the evenings. Those are wonderful times, of course, to be home and doing all sorts of other kinds of things in our lives. And city councilors give up a lot to make this job work. It is work of passion and heart because we often fit it into day jobs and other commitments that we have. And so really honored to be president of a group that works so diligently hard. And although we sometimes find ourselves at different resolutions on different issues, I do know that the intent that each and every one of these councilors brings is with the very, very best interest of our neighbors at heart. So thank you very much. Our job as a council is to listen to you. It's to take in all of that wonderful feedback that you give us. It's to hear your ideas. It's to know when we are on track with what you need. It's to provide some of what you want. And it's to do everything that we can to have a positive difference in your lives. And you help us in that in enormous ways. You attend meetings, you web stream our meetings. In the past year, we have started web streaming and closed captioning, and I know for a fact that is boosting the number of people who are participating in their local government, and that's a wonderful thing. You keep us apprised of what's important to you, and you share with us what's on your mind. The work that we do is only done because of the commitment that you have to our community, and we're so grateful for the many ways that you as residents and neighbors partner with us to help keep Duluth strong and well. So I was at Duluth and St. Louis County Days last week, and I told this brief story. About 5 or 6 years ago, a friend of mine in the metro area said, you know, the thing about Duluth, Emily, is that it is small enough to get things done, but big enough to make a difference, big enough to matter. Small enough to get things done and big enough to matter. And the way that he said it, it was like dripping with envy. He was so envious. He's in this larger metropolitan place, and it's hard to get the traction you need. It's hard to get the communication. It's hard to get the partners all working, rowing the boat in the same direction. And I've thought about that line so many times in my own service, both as a counselor and as council president, because the state watches us differently than they used to. The work we do here in Duluth, it makes a huge difference, and I want to talk a little bit about that. A few years ago, as a council, we really took on and embraced the issue of streets and transportation. It wasn't easy 3 years ago. It's not easy now. It's an issue we continue to find solutions for, and we continue to identify ways that we can improve our streets and find equitable ways to do that. You partnered with us in that, attended many meetings, gave us feedback on where we were moving in the right direction and where we needed to pivot. And what's happened since? The county has looked to transportation as a leading issue and had some really public discussions about that this year. And now the legislature is doing the same. The work that we've done here on a city level has made a difference. The experience that we have in Duluth, it's not unique, actually. What we're facing and some of our struggles, especially as it relates to streets, it really is not unique on the statewide stage. What is unique is that as a city we're having the discussion and that we started it 3 years ago, because there are cities now, like St. Paul and Minneapolis, that are just getting to that. And we're happy to have them on board. We're happy to have that pressure and that discussion that can help our legislature help us. The state looks at us differently than they did 5 or 10 years ago in all sorts of other areas too. Economic development is one of them. We have developers that are joining our portfolio of local builders. We have people who are watching what we're doing, envious, looking forward to visiting the new offerings that we have. In the past year, we've had significant private sector investment in Duluth. We have job growth, really large job growth. At the same time, we've had decreased unemployment. And while we've had a really robust construction year in 2014, 2015 is going to be even bigger. The work that the council does that supports that includes not just some of the land use decisions we have to make, but also finance options that we put together and supporting our staff and administration as they implement a vision that takes us all to the next level. But the thing about economic development that's so interesting is that it only happens if the city is a place that you want to live. And that's actually some of the best work we get to do as a council, is those quality of life issues that we get to work on. And we have 2 specific areas in the past year and the year ahead you're going to be hearing more from us on. The first is the arts. There's a recent study that came out that the Arrowhead region brings in about $40 million annually in arts-related economic development. $40 million. We are second only to the metro area in what we offer in terms of the arts and creativity. And I'm really proud that this year as a council, we have something new that we've started. It's just for 2015. It's called the Duluth Distinguished Artist Award. And this year, each counselor will have one opportunity to bring someone into council chambers, and we will bestow this award for their achievement and their creativity, for what they bring in terms of vibrancy to Duluth. And we started it last month, actually. Councilor Filipovich brought forward Charlie Leibfried. Did I say it right? Yay. And it was so beautiful. We spent 6 minutes at that meeting celebrating art, and Charlie talked us through some of the work that he's done as an educator, and he played for us, and it set a tone that was unbelievably beautiful and put us all not just in a good mood for the work ahead, but reminded us of why we are in those chambers to begin with, and that is you. So I hope that you will be watching us this year to find out who is coming next. We do have somebody scheduled on March 23rd, and we'll be working our way through counselors and lifting up the good work that's happening in the arts community. One of the other strong areas of quality of life that we have an impact on as city councilors is parks and recreation and libraries. We've been talking a lot about all of those things lately, and in the past year, we've talked about the Lake Walk. We've talked about bike trails, we've talked about cross-city trails, we've talked about how do we improve services to youth in our neighborhoods through our parks, what are plans to get there, and how can we help ensure that these places where people interact with each other, our parks and our libraries, remain vibrant and positioned to be incredibly strong into the future. So this year, I anticipate a lot more work in those very same areas, Last week we had a presentation from administration and Mr. Philby Williams about a vision for the West Duluth area and the St. Louis River Corridor. It's an exciting vision, and I hope we do get to hear about that tonight. Actually, I'm guessing we will. $18 million of investment through the half and half tourism tax, coupled with $32 million anticipated dollars in grants and other funding for over $50 million along a whole corridor. These investments include parks and trails. It includes maintenance of key areas that have been tourism attraction in the past. It's an honor that we get to, as a council, now move in the process of picking through those projects along with administration, along with community partners, strengthening the projects that come for us. And every single one of those projects will be debated and discussed at the council. We're so looking forward to the opportunity to invest in the St. Louis River Corridor, and I thank administration and staff and community partners for their vision. And then finally, the library. We've talked a lot about the library because it's important to you. You've let us know that in so many ways, that this library is an asset. It is a service that we rely, that not only levels a playing field for people in our city, but provides opportunities for advancement. Libraries are a key area that helps build literacy and connects people who are disconnected in our society. Provides an opportunity for people to gather and learn and explore. And this year we are going to be talking much more in depth about our downtown branch. As a council, we will be deciding how best to move forward. We'll be deciding that with administration and with staff and with all of you. The work we do together, it matters. I know this work matters to us, matters to all of us on stage. It matters to our staff that are in the audience. I know it matters to all of you and to the many, many thousands of people we collectively, you and I, we all represent. The state looks at Duluth differently than it did 5 or 10 or 15 years ago, like I said before, because we are a different city than we were. The work that we do as a council is reflective of that. It's reflective of the direction that our community wants to go. And certainly one of the reasons why we're viewed differently, why our work matters here, why it matters on a statewide stage, is that we have had leadership that has helped bring us there. So last week, I asked Mayor Ness, how can I introduce you at the State of the City? And introducing people can be really fun, because you kind of get to honor them or say a joke. And he said to me, as simply as possible, which was kind of disappointing. But in retrospect, I'm as tempted as I am to kind of not grant that wish. The truth is that it takes great grace and humility to make that request. And really, who am I not to honor that? So please join me in welcoming, for his final State of the City address, Mayor Don Ness.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right, really. You have no idea what the speech is going to be like, so I would hold off on that. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It was now a little over 7 years ago that I was standing at this same podium, just having been sworn in as mayor. And I have to tell you, I was completely scared out of my mind for what would come next. Today, there are several differences. We have a new counselor. I think Counselor Gardner was the only one, and Counselor Fosley, the only ones who were here 7 years ago. I have a few more gray hairs these days, but I can tell you I'm still scared out of my mind for what comes next, just for different reasons. I want to recognize a few folks. I saw County Attorney Mark Rubin is here. Thank you, Mark, for being here. I want to recognize former city councilors Dan Hartman and Russ Stover as well. I've just come to the realization that it's really important to honor and recognize former elected officials. That's a really great idea. And on that, I also see a friend and colleague that I served with on the council for many years, Councilor Greg Gilbert. Thank you, Greg, for being here. I also want to thank President Larson for her wonderful introduction. And I just have to comment about how comfortable she looks up here at a State of the City address. Just an observation. I also want to thank the counselors for being here and for your wonderful service to our community. To my mom, Mary Ness, and my dad, who's watching on television, thank you for everything that you've done for me, for your love and support through all these years. My wife, Laura, is here, and of course, she is the reason that I stand before you today. She is my reason and purpose for everything, and she has been a wonderful partner over the past 7 years. And also, my 3 kids, who you know that they've now kind of grown up because they haven't rushed the stage at the moment that I started speaking. But Eleanor, who is now 10, James, who is 8, and Owen, who is 4, and they are the loves of my life. And so thank you guys very much for being here. Let's give them a round of applause. And I want to thank the community on that family front for their support and understanding that the sacrifices that we've made, that I don't go to a lot of the dinners and the cocktail hours because it's important for me to go home and spend time with my family. And so I thank the community for their support on that front. Also want to thank the DECC staff, PAC Television, My 9, KUMD, the city staff who have worked so diligently in pulling this together, specifically Ingrid Hornibrook and Tiff Rossman for their good work. Also Amy Norris, who is once again providing sign language interpretation for this event, and Amy, a longtime city employee, one of my favorite city employees. And I want to thank her. Did you do that? Did you do it? All right. And she has provided this service for the State of the City for many years, and we're honored to have her here today. As well as I want to thank our friends from Sound Central who do such a fantastic job providing the sound. So, this is my final State of the City address, and in many ways the timing is kind of awkward because it's too early to get nostalgic about this. I will not be crying at this speech. Because I still have another 10 months left in office. And there's much work to be done. And we'll be discussing much of that in the minutes to come. Also coming to recognize the limitations for having only 10 months, that the initiatives that we otherwise kind of grab hold of and run with are now kind of will be for the next mayor and the next council to take on. Yet it does seem appropriate to look back over the past 7 years. I'm also going to spend a good portion of this speech projecting forward to 2020. This is not going to be a laundry list speech, pressure to hit every issue, so feel free to be angry with me for not mentioning the issue that's most important to you, and I do apologize, but on the other side of that same coin, this speech will be much shorter than an hour long, and so you're welcome on that front. I'm also taking, hopefully, a much more casual tone for this speech. I'm working from an outline, so I hope you'll excuse my stumbles. There will be no videos today. It's State of the City Unplugged. But wanting to just kind of take that look back and then the look ahead. So it truly is a remarkable story of Duluth, Minnesota. And those of you in this room have made that possible. It has all the makings of a wonderful story. A beautiful, even magical setting, a unique and special place that we call home, challenged by massive problems, and then a band of renegade misfits led by Luke Skywalker rose to the challenge to defeat the evil empire. That was for my boys there. Okay, well, maybe not Luke Skywalker, but the people who love Duluth rose to the challenge. When I ran for mayor in 2007, our slogan was "Believe in Duluth." It was a slogan that was ridiculed by some at the time because there was this very deeply ingrained, cynical view of our community and the problems that we faced. It was a slogan that was purposeful. It wasn't about me. It wasn't saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm great and wonderful and you should vote for me." It was about what our community needed at that time. A sense that Duluth was good enough to believe in, that we had the strengths, that we had to build upon and create the community that we knew was possible, that we knew the potential was there, and all we had to do is believe enough to take on the biggest challenges. And there were painful and difficult times ahead. But if we believe in the fundamental goodness of the community that we have chosen, then it's worthwhile. I think of the process of tearing up old kitchen floor or tearing up carpet in the living room. And that effort is worthwhile if you know that there's good, solid hardwood underneath. And you have to put your back into it and you're sweating and it's awful work, but if you know the hardwood is underneath. And that was the case for our city. Yes, we had a big challenge ahead of us, huge issues, and it was ugly and it was back-breaking work. But those of us in this community that love this community knew that the hardwood was there. We knew that the bones of our community were strong, and that in putting in the effort that it would be worthwhile, and it has been worthwhile. So the early stages of my term, 2008 and 2009, were profoundly awful years. I look back and it makes me sick to my stomach to think about what we went through. And man, do I feel sorry for that mayor. What a poor, sad, pathetic little guy. We had massive problems. The Great Recession affected Duluth very directly. We were on the bleeding edge of that recession, made worse by the fact that at the very same time that we were trying to fix decades-old problems of sanitary sewer overflows, retiree health care, budget, and infrastructure problems. And in those early years, we were losing badly. The cynics were having a field day. The paper was in their 4-inch headline mode, and the blogs were hungry for the blow-by-blow that we were seeing in the public sphere. How did we respond? By making even more wildly unpopular and controversial decisions that made people even more angry. It was a brilliant strategy. But we kept at it. We believed in Duluth. We believed that we can make a difference, and it has. I'd like to briefly point out just a couple of examples. In 2008, we were being sued by the federal government for untreated sewage entering into Lake Superior in the St. Louis River. At one point, we had 8 million gallons of untreated sewage entering our fresh water in a single year. Not a single drop of untreated sewage has entered Lake Superior, the St. Louis River, over the last 2.5 years. I give great credit to Jim Benning and our sanitary sewer crews for their long-time commitment to this important issue. Give credit to the city councilors who made very difficult and unpopular decisions to dedicate the resources necessary to accomplish that. But now we have fulfilled our most sacred responsibility as Duluthians to protect the freshwater resource in our community. The second issue that was looming over us as a community in 2008 was retiree health care. And we needed a comprehensive solution. A 2005 actuarial study pointed to an unfunded liability that would grow to over $400 million by today if reforms had not been taken. But step by step, starting with the efforts of a task force and implementing and having the partnership from our public employees unions to, and working through each issue step by step, we've now reduced that unfunded liability by more than half. And our current year expenses for retiree health care, from that actuarial study, we projected that our current year costs in 2015 would be $15 million. Today it's $9 million. That $6 million of extra cost is the difference in delivering quality services to the public. services that we all count on, the ability to deliver those services without having to go back to the taxpayers. And as we project forward, that issue becomes even greater, because that actuarial study in 2005 projected that by 2020, those costs would be $20 million a year. Instead, because of the plan that we put in place and the dollars that we've set aside, it will continue to be $9 million. That actuarial study pointed to a $30 million a year problem in 2030, but because of the plan that we've put in place, will be $9 million of cost to the taxpayers. That fundamentally changes the future, our fiscal future in the city of Duluth, allows us to provide quality services to the people of Duluth, and continue to fulfill our promise to city retirees that they will have a benefit that they can count on for the long run, and not face the threat of bankruptcy and potentially losing their benefit. That was a fundamental, important decision, and we thank everybody who had a part in that as well. Thank you. I want to take a moment to thank those city councilors who are partners in this effort over the past 7 years. They did make many tough and unpopular decisions. Those councilors showed great leadership by taking ownership of the problems we faced. Please join me in thanking those councilors, past and present, who are part of the success that we've seen in recent years. I also want to thank my staff, my team, the real strength of this organization, their professionalism, their willingness to take on the trickiest problems, their renewed focus on customer service. We have a slogan in city government: own it, solve it, take pride. It was actually coined by Dave Montgomery. I can't take credit for that. But it's a slogan that has now been in place for the last 5 years, and it has caught hold. I was out in the grocery store and stopped by a woman, and she was talking about city crews that came to her house to fix a water problem, a kind of frozen water main. And these crews were working hour after hour to unthaw this woman's water line. And at one point she came out to thank them, and I think she said that to give them some cookies. And she said that they were so positive about their work. They were looking at the work that they were doing for this woman and taking pride in it. And they actually, the part that really warmed my heart is when she was talking about them, one of the utility operators said, own it, solve it, take pride. That they repeated that to one of our customers out in the community, that they had kind of, that was ingrained in their approach to public service, which we take very seriously in city government today. So I want to thank my core team and everyone who's dedicated their career to service in our city. It is sometimes a thankless job. It's a job that there are many pressures and many customers that and oftentimes those customers have different expectations of what city staff and what city government will do for them. But time and time they've stepped up in really amazing ways. And there's two people that I'd like to thank very specifically for their work that they have retired recently. One is Peg Spihar, and I don't think Peg is here tonight, but Peg just recently retired. Her latest role was Chief Administrative Officer, Chief Financial Officer for, sorry Dave, Chief Financial Officer for the City of Duluth, but for many years ran our budget office. And Peg is a wonderful person, big personality, and she was kind of that steadying force during those difficult times in 2008 and 2009. And today, you can find Peg and say thank you to Peg up at the Snooty Fox Tea Shop up on 19th Avenue East and A Street, and she is a co-owner with her daughter up there, and it's a wonderful little store. The other person that I'd like to thank and recognize is somebody who is here, and that is Chief John Strongatharm. Chief, where are you? There he is. John just recently retired from the city of Duluth after many wonderful years of service, and John, again, embodies that idea of own it, solve it, take pride, taking reform of the fire department to heart, making it a modern organization that we can all be proud of. John, thank you for your service, and thanks for being here tonight. That budget success, budget discipline, holding the line and coming under budget, now 6 consecutive years, despite major challenges. We all remember the winter of last year, and we'd like to forget it, but it was there, it happened. And we saw over $500,000 of increased costs, overtime for snowplow drivers and for snow removal and salt and sand expenses. And it was looking like we may have to dip into this reserve that we've worked so hard to build over the last few years that finally got to that 10% threshold. But because of the good work of our directors and Dave and our budget staff, we were able to tighten our belt for the remainder of the year and actually come in under budget once again and add a little bit to our budget reserve for the 6th consecutive year. So thank you to city staff for their efforts in doing that. And because of those efforts, our bond rating has improved. That financial stewardship, improving city services, investing in core infrastructure, those are all kind of the nuts and bolts of city government. That for 5 or 6 years we were focused on those kind of that internal workings and solving the big problems. And it's only now, in the last 12 months, that we've begun to see the fruits of that effort. Now it's going to accelerate. The attention to details and the discipline that we have demonstrated have resulted in the opportunity now for the big vision and for big opportunities. At last year's speech, I spoke about how 2013 was a transition year, dealing with tough, ugly issues like flood recovery, last place on earth, and negotiating complex development agreements. And I predicted at that time that 2014 would prove to be the very first year of the next great era in Duluth's history. And I don't think there's any question that that new era has begun. It's interesting to note that there are so many positive things that we've almost forgotten to celebrate them completely. In 2008, we were grasping for any good news. Now it's hard to keep up. Somebody recently was talking to me about the Pier B development, $29 million investment on our waterfront. And now we're just taking it for granted. It's not, in 2008, we, put a park bench up and we're holding a press conference. There are so many good things happening in our community, and we want to celebrate, we want to embrace them, and we want to continue that momentum. So now looking ahead, my time in this role is now limited, but for the community, the new era has only just begun. It's about sustaining momentum and preparing for the next big leap forward. For the remainder of the speech, I'm going to project forward to 2020, now just 5 years into the future, and paint a picture of how the projects that we're working on right now might look and feel in 2020, and how Duluth will be transformed by the efforts today and in the coming years. The aviation sector, the growth of Cirrus, now committing to their new jet product in the production here in the city of Duluth. AER continuing to expand, and most importantly, Lake Superior College committing to an aviation program that will allow Duluthians, young people in Duluth that want to stay here, want to have a good job, to go through a 2-year program and then be able to come out of that program making $40,000 or $50,000 a year. We also want to continue that partnership between business and education. Workforce training, raising the wages for middle-class families, and providing pathways out of poverty to a better life for all of our residents in the city of Duluth. That opportunity is now before us. In the building trades, we're seeing that there's so much activity taking place right now that the bench gets pretty thin during the height of construction season. We need to encourage people in communities of color. We need to encourage folks that are struggling with poverty to seek out those skill sets to meet the needs of our workforce and provide a better life for them and their families. Downtown in 2020 will be transformed. The Maurice's headquarters will be complete. The Superior Street reconstruction will also be complete with new streetscape and new utilities under the ground, hopefully eliminating the need to dig up Superior Street and fix a water main break and all the damage and disruption that occurs. It will be disruptive for our downtown, but by 2020, we'll see the benefits of this new downtown. In this, the Superior Street reconstruction, James, you should find your seat, buddy. Find your seat. It is also an opportunity for us to refresh our district heating system. Currently, we have a very inefficient coal-fired steam plants on the shores of Lake Superior. We have an opportunity in the reconstruction of Superior Street to convert that inefficient coal-fired steam plant to a closed-loop hot water system that uses renewable energy sources to heat that water. So instead of taking very cold water from Lake Superior, heating it all the way up to steam, sending it out into an inefficient system to be consumed and then dumped into our sanitary system, we instead will take warm water, heat it to hot water, send it out, it's consumed, and then we send it back to the district heating plant to be as warm water to be heated up again. You can just see the efficiencies in that. And the ability to use solar, to be able to use more biomass, to be able to use a better mix of energy sources to heat our downtown businesses. That's an exciting vision and can be possible in 2020. Thank you. The North Shore Theater will be fully revitalized, and it will. We're talking about 2020. No, it will. It will, and actually, it'll be under construction this year and will be complete in the next 12 to 18 months, and really be a shot in the arm to an area of downtown that was struggled, that was hit hard for years because of the sale of synthetic drugs in their neighborhood. I fully hope and believe that we will have an agreement with the Fond du Lac Band that both communities will find fair, that we will reestablish a strong and respectful working relationship focused on the common benefit to both communities rather than confrontation. Thank you, yes. We will continue to invest in our housing. Many of these are very exciting projects taking place today as our investments in our housing projects, and they span the spectrum of housing options. From the market rate projects that we see on 21st Avenue East and up at Bluestone to the very important investments in our housing infrastructure like the Steve O'Neill apartments. We need to continue our efforts to invest along that spectrum, and we are a community that is committed to doing that. And in doing so, we're also growing our tax base, the ability to meet our future revenue needs, to provide quality services from the growth that is taking place from the investment in our community. And clearly, once Ness was out of office, all the city streets will be magically improved. And by 2020, not a single crack or pothole will exist, because you guys are going to do it. I believe in you. We'll also see the growth of hometown companies, the expansion of skilled manufacturing, tech firms, and new industry using former brownfield and Superfund sites. We'll continue our efforts to address important issues like the achievement gap, affordability of housing, and homelessness. Poverty rates are too high in the city of Duluth, and especially for communities of color. It is our responsibility as Duluthians to address that issue head on, and a commitment to build a middle class within our communities of color. Yes, thank you. In the next 5 years, the U.S. Steel site will have seen massive cleanup, both in the St. Louis River and on the 300-acre site. The first 140 acres managed by the Port Authority will bring new jobs to that site for the first time in over 40 years. And because of these efforts, we will see population growth. That our 90 by 20 efforts, I still think is very possible, that we can reach 90,000 residents by 2020. And we'll do so by retaining the boomers who are looking to retirement and saying that Duluth is a community that you should retire in. that you can will redefine retirement in this community and look and provide opportunities for those folks to continue to give back to the good things happening in our community. We'll fill new jobs, and young families will choose Duluth. That has started slowly, but it will accelerate in the next 5 years. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to share one person's vision for the downtown library. I want to stress that this is just kind of my perspective on what could be possible, and I know that a longer-term community discussion is needed and will take place in the coming months. But in my mind, a wonderful and exciting location for a new downtown library is on 1st Avenue East and Superior Street on the lower side, where the Muffler Clinic site, now empty lot, and potentially the antique store building right next to it. And here's the potential of that site. 2 levels of parking, about 150 spots off the Michigan Street level. 4-story library system, modern library that meets the modern interests of library goers with the technology and the public spaces. And imagine from the 4th floor of that new library system building, the spectacular views of Lake Superior. And if you think about it, right now, today, there are not many places where the public can go to get that spectacular view. Maybe the Skywalk to Essentia is about the only place that is truly welcoming and available to the public. But we have the opportunity to provide that. Imagine taking a book from the library and going right outside into Lake Place Park, currently underutilized, and sitting on the bench and overlooking the greatest of the Great Lakes. Imagine a children's programming. Then instead of being down off of Michigan Street in this kind of damp concrete jungle, to be able to step out into Lake Place Park, smell the fresh lake breeze, and to fully experience and appreciate what Duluth has to offer. That the library system would be right off the lake walk. I think exciting possibilities. I look forward to working with the city councilor and community members to try to find that vision that we can get behind. But it is a... But let's also acknowledge that it's a big step for a community. The dollars that we're talking about are significant. And so I would call upon the council and ask them to put this to a vote to the voters in Duluth this fall, and let them decide whether or not this is a vision that they want to get behind and support financially. And I believe that if we tell the right story and show the potential of that site, that they will get behind that. So Duluth's place in the world, we are fulfilling an important niche in the New North. I love that idea, that we're no longer the upper Midwest, one part of a larger Midwest, big blob in the middle of the country, that we are the North, and we're proud of that. And Duluth has a key and strategic and important role in fulfilling that idea. That we will find prosperity and improve quality of life by enhancing our strengths, and that we're no longer competing against Fargo and Rochester, but that we are Duluth, and we are doing that extraordinarily well. And part of that effort is our continued investment in the St. Louis River Corridor, which is the passion within City Hall these days and is our most important initiative going forward. That the environmental cleanup, not only at the U.S. Steel site, but across the St. Louis River Corridor, both in the river itself as well as in the brownfields and Superfund sites across that area. That we're investing in outdoor recreation and environmental learning. I want to thank Jim Philby-Williams for his leadership and excellent work in crafting that vision and communicating directly with the residents in that area. And we are about to create something very spectacular and wonderful for that area. That we will invest in Spirit Mountain and Fairmont Park and the zoo. That we will create a trail system that will truly allow Duluth to earn the title of the premier trail city in North America. And just think of this. By 2020, we'll have completed the Cross City Trail. A paved trail that that will connect the Munger Trail through our neighborhoods in West Duluth and Lincoln Park and connecting to the Lake Walk all the way out to Brighton Beach. We will continue to expand and enhance the Superior Hiking Trail, already a world-class trail experience hiking trail experience within our city, 42 miles, and we're going to continue to expand upon that and adding new loops. And we'll also see the completion of the world's premier urban mountain biking system, the Duluth Traverse, 100 miles that will put Duluth on the map, not only in the north and the Midwest, but across the globe. In the St. Louis River Corridor, we're going to see revitalized neighborhoods, choices for young families, and new housing options for seniors, and a vision to create a Grand Avenue exit, to promote the Grand Avenue exit off I-35 coming north, to say this is Duluth's first exit. Come off this exit, get on Beck's Road, and see what we have to offer on the western end of town. So I'm also excited to announce today that the City of Duluth is working closely with the state of Minnesota and community partners, including Jody Slick, who is here and has been a driving force in this effort, to pursue millions of federal dollars as part of the Department of Housing and Urban Development's Community Development Block Grant Disaster Resiliency Funds. Yes, all right, so the bottom line here is that HUD has made nearly $1 billion available as part of their second round of funding, open to communities that have had presidentially declared disasters between 2011 and 2013. Now, the interesting part about this is that this legislation, this $1 billion worth of funding, was put forward because of the big hurricane that they had on the East Coast. Thank you. So that's where the money comes from, right? It's like, hey, the East Coast has some problems, so we're going to give them a whole bunch of money. But because we are now in a position to apply for those dollars, and with the partnership of local partners and the state of Minnesota, I think we have an excellent story to tell. The city's application, titled Big Waters, Ripples of Resiliency, will be seeking millions of dollars to assist with the unmet needs of the 2012 flood. The primary focus will be along the St. Louis River Corridor, enhancing the efforts that are already underway, addressing the growing community and how we can better prepare for resiliency for future climate events, including green infrastructure, issues around water retention and flowage, resilient economic development and housing, and using these dollars to meet the unmet needs damage that was done by the 2012 flood that we did not receive funding for. For example, damage in the Irving neighborhood. The potential impacts of these dollars are huge, and we're excited about the possibility. And there are only, I believe, 60-some eligible, 67 eligible communities across the nation. And the way that federal funds work, they have to kind of distribute them somewhat equally across the nation. And because of the story that we have to tell, and because of the capacity that we have in this community, because it so reflects our values as a community, that sustainability and resiliency and investing in our green infrastructure is so core to our message, that we in the city of Duluth are the perfect messengers to carry this message forward. And to say, federal government, you can trust the city of Duluth will understand how to tell this story, because it's a story that we're already telling today. And by the way, we're already investing our own resources into environmental cleanup. We're already investing our own resources into environmental education. And now you, federal government, can get on our bus, and we're going to show you the path to success. And we're thinking big. There's $1 billion out there. We're thinking $150 million to the city of Duluth would be a fair portion of that effort. So it's community leaders who are making this happen. Many in this room and hundreds more are all contributing to what we've seen. I felt fortunate to be mayor at the time that Duluth has regained its confidence. I felt fortunate to see firsthand the talent and passion of Duluthians to solve problems and to create new opportunities. I felt fortunate to have amazing coworkers who are the true driving force of the important reforms of recent years. And as I step away from the role early next year and a new mayor steps into the role, this community will enter into the next phase of growth and prosperity that will far exceed what we've seen in the past 7 years. We have proven our ability to solve massive problems, and we have now begun to use that same energy and passion for our community to grow a more prosperous city for us all. In Duluth, in the past, Duluth has not had the luxury to look ahead. We were in survival mode. We had the immediate crisis or this massive problem that required our full attention. Today, we have the ability and the privilege to look ahead. And the projects that I listed off are just a very small fraction of the potential of our community and the potential that and the ideas that you all have and that will be emerging in the coming years to even look further ahead. That's really exciting. And it has provided the ability to practice our city's capacity to think big. We hope to inspire a generation of community leaders to see possibility and potential, to work for it, and to believe that it's possible. That's the difference between cities that are very good and cities that are great. We as a community, we're not there yet, but we are on the right path. We are heading in the right direction. We're getting closer to fulfilling that enormous potential that we all know is there for our community. And when I say that we are just in the very beginning stages, I mean that. We have only just begun to enter into that virtuous cycle in which economic development and leads to investments in our housing stocks, which put more people to work, that creates more opportunities to take people that are struggling and in poverty and show them a path to a better life right here in our community. So I believe in Duluth. I believe that Duluth's best days are yet to come, and I'm excited to see what comes next, and I hope you all are as well. Thank you.